This mini PC has a super fast AMD Ryzen 9 processor and an integrated RDNA 3 GPU. That makes this little PC faster than most of the desktop systems in existence today. What's more, you get plenty of networking as well as expansion with things like USB 4 and Thunderbolt 3. And not only that, but Beelink made these things look cool. So let's get to it. Hey guys, this is Patrick from STH, and these are the Beelink GTR7 Pro devices. You may have seen previously that we reviewed the Beelink GTR7 non-Pro edition, as well as the Minisforum UM790 Pro. When we reviewed these units, the comments were littered with folks asking for the Beelink GTR7 Pro, and so we ordered 2 of them. And we found a lot of things that were frankly similar to the GTR7, but there are quite a few differences that we want to go over. And if you're wondering why we have 2 GTR7 Pros, it's very simple. I originally ordered the orange one because I thought, well, it looked super cool, so of course I want that. But then we got hit with a shipping delay on that one, and so I said, okay, well, let's actually go get this, and we got the gray one. And then of course, as luck would have it, they basically showed up at the exact same time. So we ended up with 2 of them. Even though we have 2 of these, I am not upset because these are probably the best mini PCs out there on the market right now. And so I hope you're ready for a journey of discovery. Of course, a quick thank you to the STH YouTube members. If you want to support us so we can go buy units like these and do editorially independent reviews, you can always join down below. Thanks a bunch to everyone who's already an STH member. Okay, so on the outside of these units, you're gonna see a whole bunch of things that are super exciting and also quite different from the GTR7. Now, all of these units are actually retail units. We did go buy these, so there are some changes that we are surprised because these are not pre-production units. The first change, which isn't really a surprise, is that we actually get a GTR7 Pro badge over on this side. The GTR7 didn't have that. However, you will note that there are some websites and folks out there that are allegedly reviewing the GTR7 Pro, but they are lacking the obvious badge on the side of them. Instead, they have the non-badged versions. Also, let's just talk about these colors real quick. These are 3 of the 4 colors that Beelink offers, and frankly, this orange one looks awesome. It looks okay on the web, and it looks awesome when you see it live. But there is one thing I will point out. Whereas the bluish one and the gray one both kind of can hide in certain places and not look too out of place, this orange one, if it's in a normal room, will probably draw everybody's attention there. Now, if you are decorating for Halloween, or if maybe you just live in a orange house or something like that, then maybe this would look right there, but otherwise it's definitely a pretty loud color choice. I just want to point that out real quick. Okay, now looking at the front of these units, you'll see that we have our power button, and then we have this clear CMOS button. Beelink, stop giving us this clear CMOS button that's like out there. It's right next to it. Like if I wasn't looking here, I could hit this and think that I was hitting the power button. Please just move this, or don't have it, or just like make it a recess button that's a little bit harder to get to. You shouldn't need to go do that every single day, and you might need to go use the power button daily. Next to that, we have our USB 3 Type A port, and then we have a Type C port. And we also get a combo headset microphone jack. Now, before we get to the rear, I want to just kind of show you guys the top of the system because there is a big feature here, which is the fingerprint reader. This fingerprint reader is nice to have if you have this on your desk and you just want like a Windows Hello, super easy sign-on thing. There are challenges if you do run Thunderbolt, which we showed in our GTR7 review, and also it's something that the Minisforum unit just doesn't have. Now, on the back of the system, you'll see that we have 2 USB 2 ports, 2 USB 3 ports, and then we have 2 USB Type-C ports that are USB 4, and also they can run Thunderbolt 3 devices. And that means that, like in the previous video, we showed that these can run eGPUs, but they can also run things like 10 gigabit Ethernet adapters if you have one. It does cost a little bit more to get a Thunderbolt 3 adapter, but on the other hand, if you do just need 10 gigabit, well, that's kind of your option. And the other feature of these USB 4 ports is that they can run DisplayPort outputs, which means you get 2 displays from these, even if you're not running an eGPU. And you also have an HDMI port and a DisplayPort built in. So if you want to go run like 4 4K displays, you can totally go do that with a little PC like this now. And below the right side USB 4 port, you also get another combo headset jack. So if you want to run your, I guess, audio out of that, you can instead of the front, because some people just like that for wiring purposes. Now, the other big feature is that you get 2 network ports, and these are not 1 gig ports. Instead, these are 2.5 gig Ethernet ports. Now, one of the big movements, especially in the NAS industry, has been starting to support things like SMB3 multi-channel. What that allows you to do is you can use a dumb unmanaged switch, and you can just plug in these 2 ports into that switch. You can plug in like a NAS that has a 10 gig Ethernet, or maybe 2 2.5 gig Ethernet Ethernet connections, and you can get almost the aggregate bandwidth of both of these ports. So while it's not 5 gig or 10 gig on board, 2.5 gig switches are coming down in price. We have an entire guide on that, and it's become pretty trivial to enable that SMB3 multi-channel and get over 500 megabytes per second out of these two ports. Combined, of course. Now let me just turn this entire stack around real quick because I want to show you one thing that's really easy to see. Now the bottom one is the GTR5, which I've had hooked up to my TV in my living room for quite some time now. And this unit you can see is fairly short because when you get to the GTR6 version, which is the second one up, that one has definitely gotten a little bit thicker, and that's really to dissipate heat even better. Now what Beelink did, which I really like, is they made the chassis for the GTR7 a little bit taller so they can fit this extra cooling in here. The GTR7 and GTR7 Pro use this new chassis, and I really like the fact that they did this because they're able to dissipate a lot of heat. Now before we get inside the system, I want to show you just the bottom of this real quick. One of the cool things is that you'll see that Beelink on these is actually matching the rubber feet to the chassis color, which I think is super cool. Unlike the Minisforum, the Beelink folks also have these giant rubber feet, and they put these screws that are easy to go and access without having to peel off the rubber feet so you can get inside. That is absolutely awesome. Now, like most Beelink units, you have this update BIOS and get into the BIOS and all those kind of instructions here. The one thing that will change with this is that Beelink just announced the fact that they are going to have a new fan version of this for even better cooling. And that brings us to probably one of the most controversial features of this, which is this right here. You'll see that we have this little DC in here, we have this little button, and what this comes with is a power adapter. Now this power adapter is a little bit different than what we saw previously, but it works in the exact same way. And let me just kind of show you this real quick. So you take the little power adapter here, and this is a very proprietary connector, which I don't really like. And then you just kind of snap it in place, and then now you're connected. This is a pretty secure connection, and it's definitely not going to come off if you just kind of casually brush it or something like that. At the same time, it's not like an Apple MagSafe connection, because if you did pull this thing, it will pull off the system like off a table or something like that. Just to me, I would rather just see a normal DC power input, or even better, maybe a USB Type-C power delivery like input on this. But with that, let's get inside the system and take a look. Now getting inside the system is pretty easy. There are 4 screws at the bottom that you just kind of plop out and you're ready to go. Now, one other thing though that Beelink does that I really like in these systems is there's this little tab, and you just pull the little tab and now the bottom cover comes off. Now, once inside the system, you're gonna see a couple of really cool features. The first one is that we have a little heatsink. This is for our SSDs. And then there's also a fan inside here, and that really helps to move air around underneath here, especially because you need cooling for your DDR5 as well as your SSDs. Now, to get this cover off, there are 3 screws, and one of them you can use almost any screwdriver and be able to undo that one. But the other 2 are kind of recessed, and they sit so far down in here that a big screwdriver like this won't fit, and so you're gonna need another smaller one. If you have little electronic screwdrivers like this, it's no problem, but if you only have big screwdrivers, it's just a total pain in the butt. I wish that they did a better job on this cover. And getting the screws out, by the way, is not really the problem. It's getting them back into the system that is a total pain. But once you do liberate this cover from its screws, then you can pull it out. And what you'll see is that there are going to be 2 different cables that are connecting this cover to the main PCB, and these are really for the power as well as for the fan. Now inside the system, there are a number of fun features, and the first one, let's just talk about the SSD situation. So you'll see here that we have a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD. This is a Crucial P3 Plus 1 terabyte unit. These are extremely low cost SSDs, and they're not necessarily the fastest, but they are still PCIe Gen 4 SSDs. There is a second M.2 slot, so if you do want to add a second M.2, you can do that. The one thing I'll point out though is that the cooling for these is interesting, because remember that we had this heatsink here. There are thermal pads, but these thermal pads only cover a portion of the overall, SSD. And it might be really hard to see, maybe Alex can zoom in on this, but there is only a little bit of an indentation on the thermal pad from where the Phison controller is on the Crucial P3 Plus, and where it's actually making contact with this thermal pad. And then it'll get one of the NAND chips over here, but it won't get the second one. So it's not necessarily like the best cooling solution by any means. Still, it's also better than a lot of the other solutions we've seen on the market, so I guess that is what it is. Now, the next thing we're gonna talk about is the Wi-Fi situation. This is an Intel AX200, which is kind of an older, it's a Wi-Fi 6 solution. It's not Wi-Fi 6E, and frankly, on the GTR7 Pro, I think that should have the 210, because I think that the AX210 with Wi-Fi 6E just makes sense if you're gonna say that you have the Pro system. That should be one of the things that differentiates the Pro from the non-Pro version. Although I also think that the non-Pro version should have Wi-Fi 6E too. So I don't don't know what to tell you there. Still, that's a pretty darn good Wi-Fi solution. Now on the memory side, this is where things get super interesting. We have two DDR5 5600 DIMMs. So these are not just simple DDR5 4800, these are the faster speed, and the system actually does take advantage of that. Overall, I think adding like a hole for the fan on the bottom of the cover, and then also just, you know, on this thing, maybe improving the heatsink for the SSDs and making it a little easier to uninstall, right? I think those are the big points of feedback I have for the internals of the system. With that, let's put this together and look at the performance. Now, the overall performance of these new AMD Ryzen chips is absolutely awesome. Something that you'll see is that folks really want to see the comparison between the GTR7 and GTR7 Pro and that Ryzen 9 to Ryzen 7. The AMD Ryzen 9 7940HS is clearly faster than the lower end model, which makes a lot of sense. The one thing that we were a little bit surprised of though is that the Beelink GTR7 Pro is actually a little bit faster than the Minisforum UM790 Pro, even though they use the same processor. When we did do our testing, and we'll show you in a little bit, the Beelink unit does use a little bit more power, and so I think that the power is applied more aggressively in the Beelink unit, and that is the reason that you are getting a little bit more performance for the exact same, you know, CPU and stuff. And it's not just CPU performance. Let's take a look at the League of Legends results, and you're gonna see that our 1080 gaming is absolutely awesome. You're way above something like 140 FPS, so you can go run 144 Hertz monitors and your FPS are gonna at least stay up to that rate. 1080 is no problem on a system like this, even with all settings on very high. Moving to 4K, you're not gonna maintain over 144 FPS, but you're definitely gonna stay well over 60 FPS, most likely over 70 and in that 70 to 100 FPS range. Those are great results, and they're primarily due to the RDNA 3 graphics engine that's in this APU. Now you can go look up a ton of benchmarks online for this, but the quick summary is that the new RDNA 3 graphics that's in this generation of processor is fast enough to really replace a lot of the lower end discrete GPUs that were in previous systems. That lowers a lot of power consumption and also allows you to get that smaller footprint. Another way to think of it though is it's somewhat like the Asus ROG Ally Z1 Extreme, and it's just a higher power version of that because, well, we have better cooling because it's a desktop. Although I will say that the GTR7 makes a much better desktop PC, but if you want something portable, I do think that, you know, these handhelds are pretty good. Okay, so for the power consumption, let's start out with the first one, which is really just plugging in the included power adapter. This thing is now idle at the Windows 11 Pro desktop, but I'll just kind of show you this real quick. I'll even lift it up. Let's see if we can do this. But the idle power consumption is somewhere in that like 8 to 10, maybe 11 watt range, which is not too bad at all. And I just want to let you hear this real quick. This thing is whisper quiet at idle. Okay, now we're gonna stress the CPU, and I'll let you hear this in a second, but the big thing about this system that's different from a lot of the other systems that we've tested is just what happens to the power consumption. The packaged TDP goes into that like 65-ish watt range, and it just kind of sits there. A lot of mini PCs end up throttling down, but that is not the case with this one. And something else that we'll just kind of show you real quick is just, let's show you the overall power consumption. You can see that we're about 94, 95 watts maximum here, which is not too bad, but it's also getting darn close to 100 watts. And let me just kind of let you hear this thing real quick. It's definitely louder, but most folks are not gonna run this at 100%, and they're also not gonna have it like sitting a couple inches from their ear. It's most likely gonna be about a meter away on a desk or maybe behind a TV or something like that. Now, something that we showed in the GTR7 one is that you can power this with an eGPU chassis and also USB power delivery that way, but let's just kind of do a normal USB power delivery, and we have our little power meter here, and I'm gonna let you just kind of sit there and see this. We also tried this with USB power delivery, and we found that the front port did not accept the power input, but both of the units on the back, you could actually just go, you could plug this in, and you know, you'd start seeing the system light up. I think it's time now for some key lessons learned. Okay, so what did we learn out of this whole thing? First off, I think if this is your only desktop and this is like the system you're gonna use, then I can definitely see spending a little bit more and getting the Pro version over the non-Pro version. There is that performance bump, and it is a nice performance bump, and especially since you can't go like put a GPU in here, I would say that that's definitely worth it to me. I think that changing out like the bottom cover of these to add that hole, I think is a good thing that they're doing, but that internal cover definitely needs to be a little bit better, and this should also have Wi-Fi 6E. Now, comparing the Beelink GTR7 Pro though to the Minisforum UM790, I have to say this, guys. I actually now prefer the Beelink unit. Now, without a doubt, the Beelink is bigger. You can clearly see that here, but with the bigger chassis, you can also run all day at higher power levels, and that frankly gives you more performance. And that's something that we saw when we looked at the performance of these two units side by side. I still think, however, if Beelink made it like, another little bit taller and they could make it like completely silent, I think that would be a huge win. I think that's really the next frontier for Beelink. Also, there's always just kind of weird quality things, right? Like an example, especially is like this with the GTR, where there is a GTR, there's not a GTR, there is a GTR, there were GTRs. Like why does this orange one just not have any GTR markings on it? But there are other things like this clear CMOS button that should not be there. Please fix this, Beelink. This is silly that it's even around still. And then this bottom, like this new power thing, I think this is a cool idea, but it's not executed well, and nobody wants a proprietary power adapter. You want something that you can go get a replacement for even a couple years down the road. Now, these systems are far from perfect, and I do generally prefer them to the Minisforum, but the Minisforum at least offers a bare bones, which I wish Beelink would do as well. The other thing though is that I use the GTR5 every single day as a living room PC, but at the same time, in that use case, I don't know if I would spend the premium to get the GTR7 Pro versus the normal GTR7. In fact, I think personally, I would rather have the GTR7 and save that extra money up for things like spending money on a 10 gig NIC, or maybe just saving up for another generation a couple years from now. Of course, if you want to see our reviews of the GTR7, the UM790 Pro, or you just want to see our more detail on the reviews, we have links to those in the description, including the main site review for this. Hey guys, I hope you like this look at the Beelink GTR7 Pro. This is an awesome little system, and it's really made possible by all of you watching out there, so thank you so much. If you did like this video, well, could you share it with some of your friends? Maybe also give it a like, click subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you can see whenever we come out with great new videos. As always, thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.